Hello.
Hello. Wait, is our mic on?
Our mic is on this time.
Okay, good.
Welcome to Crafternoon if you're seeing this even on the Natural 20 Proof channel, where we create, craft, and paint creatures, characters, and entire worlds for Dungeons and Dragons and every other tabletop role-playing game out there. Third time, I can't believe this. As always, I'm your host and founder of the short-lived tribute band Blue Man Group, spelled B-L-E-W, Garrett Robinson. With me is another member of the Natural 20 Proof family. Boy, it just is not one of those jokes that gets funnier the more times you say it out loud. With me is
Watching you struggle through it 3 times is beautiful, though.
Yes. Another member of the Natural 20 Proof family, Alex Marten.
Hello, again.
We are just gonna do this. We're just gonna soldier on through.
30
this
frames,
is
20?
Yeah.
It's all good.
This is the definitive stream. We're going 720, we're going 30 frames, and if that's not good enough for my internet to deal with, then who cares? That's what's going to happen. Because this is the actual definitive stream, for the last time, we're going to get an introduction to the miniature that Alex is going to be painting today, which is going to be his miniature for the Honor campaign. Why don't you tell us all about him?
Alright, so what I can spoil so far, he's a firbolg. He's tall, not as tall as some other members of the party, perhaps. Maybe a little bit angry, but I like to keep him that kind of under wraps where he can.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, all I can really spoil without giving too much away for the present party members.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And as we were saying on one of the previous failed streams, that is going. I get to meet him for real this Sunday, 5 days from now, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on this very Twitch channel. We're doing the first game.
We're doing it.
Ah!
And the Wonder Crew too. How about that?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so friggin' excited. I can't believe how long I've been looking forward to this, and now it's happening. So here we go.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Harry's in chat, and so is I can't totally read it, but Nak Samurai?
Oh yeah, you just joined the server. Yeah,
and
yeah.
And it is awesome. You are correct.
And hello, Harry.
Meanwhile, I am going to be painting a couple of treants that are most likely going to be useful in my Thursday games, my Thursday campaign that I run with some members of the group. Not definite yet, but they've already the party has already seen them, and so it's not a tremendous spoiler to be painting them on stream because they know that treants are a thing that they can run into in their immediate environment. And I just got these miniatures, and I just really wanted to paint them.
Now, the Ancient Black Dragon, on the other hand, that's a complete spoiler.
I actually have one over there.
Okay, well, you did that on one of the Crafternoons, right? Or was that...
No, that was actually a pre-painted one.
Okay.
Yeah, I painted my red dragon on.
Okay, that's right. That's what that was.
But we will kick the music back on, and we will get to painting.
All right. Babby's first paint.
Babby's first paint. So this is like your, what, third miniature?
Second one original.
Hold on one quick second.
No worries.
Alrighty. You were saying.
So yeah, this is actually this would be the second full mini that I painted. The first one I did was for our Sunday game,
right?
And that took me about a week and a half to do because I have absolutely no experience painting minis. So I made a lot of mistakes and painted over the mistakes until I arrived at something I liked. But it was definitely not the ideal way to do this. So I want to learn how to actually paint minis in like an effective and good-looking way. Like there's a best of both worlds here that I'm trying to learn.
Totally. So the thing that I've said on the show a couple of times before, and what I feel is like the best way to approach painting in general is, in general, you want to paint from the inside out. So if you have a character and you've got their skin, or in this case, like, fur, and they are then wearing clothing on the outside of that, if you paint the clothing and then you're going past the clothing to try and paint the skin, then the odds of your brush, like, sort of like making a mistake on something you've already painted is higher. So I generally recommend on painting the skin or fur or whatever, the actual body of the character first, and then working your way out in layers. Then going to the skin, the hair, and that sort of thing.
That should be fairly easy. There's only like 3 main actual exposed parts
right
there.
And then it's also, you don't have to know like everything about color theory, but it's worth thinking about the various colors that you want to use to start off with. So like, for example, what color is just his body going to be?
Yeah, so it was going to be, I was thinking like sort of a dapple heather gray.
Okay.
So I know like firbolgs typically have that kind of gray, kind of light fur coat, but I was thinking like that heather with a little kind of like speckled thing going on, I think would be pretty cool for him.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, so you've already got a gray primer on. Do you want to sort of go with that as like your base coat for his skin, or are you like wanting to go...
Honestly, that would be probably a perfect little base coat there.
Okay.
I don't know, like at that point, would I actually still paint over it, or just use that as...
Well, so I would say, do you want his, like that sort of like speckling, do you want it to be lighter or darker than that?
A little bit of both. I was thinking like a couple like white flecks and a couple like darker gray flecks, like that true kind of like the heathered t-shirt, where it's like gray, and you get close and you got some light and some dark going through it.
So, oh man, I mean, so there's a couple of different things you could do.
Okay.
The most interesting one, I think, is if I can find, since this is the first thing you're painting and everything else is going to go like on the outside of this, if I could go find an abandoned paintbrush, sorry, not paintbrush, an abandoned, well, a paintbrush could work. It would have to be a pretty stiff one, but like an unused toothbrush, you could literally dip it in the paint and just sort of literally like sprinkle it all over it. But we could use for that, we could use something like this. So you could literally make sure the bristles are sort of working and do, grab some sort of maybe dark gray like this for the darker gray. That might be too dark. I want to mix that in with a little bit of like this here.
I've got a whole bunch of golden paints over here, but I don't know how they'll interact. I mean, it's all acrylic, but
yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
Let's go for... This is just an experiment. We're not going to do this on the model. We're going to test on like a paper towel first to see if it's kind of creating the effect that we want. So that'd be a nice darker color.
Yeah.
And so then you could wipe most of it off on the towel. And then if you don't mind getting your finger a little dirty, you could literally go...
Doesn't seem to want to fleck
Come
off
off.
there.
Fleck off! I'm going to try and find you a toothbrush.
Okay.
Because those are really good. I used to use that for that sort of spackling all the time.
Okay.
And you could do it with the darker and then go over it again with the lighter.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Let me go. Ooh. Damn you, paintbrushes. This is one of those days. It's just one of those days where everything happens, isn't it?
I was saying it's all cosmic. There's something going on with the world.
Yep. I mean, it's just... Woof, woof, woof. It's also like, you're going to hear me, I'm just saying, stream, you're going to hear me groaning a lot. I'm more sunburned than I think I've ever been in my life. It's real bad, and I'm in, like, a lot of pain right now. Ugh. Speaking of which, yeah!
Oh, no.
All right, be right back.
All right. Try to make a plan of attack here.
Try not to let the heat get to you in here. I'm sure we'll see each other again. Of course.
toothbrush.
Hey,
has been
success.
secured.
Climb.
Ba-boom.
Excellent. Let me try that.
So again, yeah, just sort of like practice it on the.
Thank you very much. Oh, that's
Oh,
perfect.
right?
That's exactly what we're going for.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just dab that off and we're good. Excellent.
So meanwhile, I'm going to start on my treants, and I want them to be sort of a dark brown, and then give them several layers up towards their sort of final coloring. So I have a brown in my... Ooh, this brush has been used for a lot of glue. Yeah, that's probably not really reliable anymore.
But kind of a lighter gray on this side, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oop, that's probably a bit much, but
That's all right. Actually, for the lighter gray, you probably want to go even a little lighter. So either probably this one.
And would it be more advantageous to use zinc white or like a Titan buff?
Maybe even like, well, that depends on sort of the coloring, because this is less gray and more in the yellowish territory. But something like that in combination with that. So like, you know, one round of just with the dark and one round with the light.
Yes, sorry. Go back to sleep. Everything's fine.
Okay, here we go. Oh, there is so much to paint.
Yeah, that's a lot of surface area you're dealing with
They
there.
are such big, many tall. So my idea is to paint them with this and then give them a wash with watered down Nuln oil. Now we were mentioning this, talked about this off stream beforehand, but
I'll go ahead and set that there.
okay, perfect. We've seen this on the stream before. Nuln oil is basically just a very sort of watery ink that runs into all the cracks and crevices of whatever you put it on, which for, you know, this treant is going to be like all that wood grain and everything like that. And it provides this sort of instant shading that's just really, really great. Make sure I'm not... Yeah, okay. So we'll do that, and then I'll gradually sort of dry brush it up. Are you familiar with dry brushing in general?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pretty neat little technique. It's one that I haven't really gotten the hang of.
And it's definitely better for some usages and applications than others.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, again, with a treant that's got like a lot of that wood texture, you can get really great results with a dry brush.
Oh, that
With a
makes sense.
character wearing leather clothes, it's usually like less good, especially since you're often going to, if you try to dry brush, you're going to be hitting a lot of areas that aren't supposed to have the color that you're going to be hitting them with.
So it's a little bit more like a diminishing returns kind of deal at that point.
Right, exactly. Are you still doing the flecking thing, or what are you...
So I didn't know if I was supposed to be starting with like an actual tone or using actually the primer as the base.
Oh yeah, no, you can just use the... I mean, it kind of depends on what you want, but if that is about the gray that you want,
Okay.
I would just go ahead and start with the flecking, doing that right now, and then maybe doing a couple of washes to pull out the shading.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Although, I'm thinking about it. No, that's probably a good way to go about it. So I just go straight in with the toothbrush
All right.
and do that sort of...
Let me grab a little corner of this and dab up some of that paint.
I hesitate to say this because every time I start talking about horses or other domesticated farm animals, I have, in my books in particular, I have a very dedicated subset of readers who are like, Garrett, horses do not work that way. But I want to say that fur pattern you're talking about is associated with palfreys? Maybe?
Sure.
Some equine person out there want to be like, no, Garrett. No, once
That
again,
is not the one.
Once again, you are incorrect.
I know absolutely nothing about horses.
It's worse now, too, because I have a friend with a horse ranch down in Sheridan. But, no...
Perfect. I actually buffed it right out. Nice. Kind of with a matte texture, but I'm very fine with that.
Nice. doing the thing.
Not yet. There it is.
Haha. And so again, that's the great thing about doing this first is because then everything, like you're never, if you did that later in the process, you'd be splattering paint on clothes. Yeah, exactly. Stuff that you definitely don't want to be doing that on. Meanwhile, I have not even finished his head. There is so much tree.
But how much ant?
I've seen some more pictures of animal things. I've seen them behind them.
Oh, John Rhys Davies.
Unfair.
There we go.
But hell, if I haven't seen plenty of humans, dwarves, elves, half-elves be the exact
What other man could play such a small and such a tall in the same movie so perfectly?
That's range.
He does have the range.
Should about do it for the dark flagging.
And then go back in there with the light. Does he have much exposed other than his legs and his face?
No, he's pretty well covered up. He's got a lot of, almost looks like kind of wintry gear.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he's probably spent a bunch of time up on the mountains, so he's pretty used to that.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I want to know everything about him. But that's alright. That's alright.
You'll know more later.
I grew up around humans and half-elves, most of them. You said you grew up more of our race, is that right?
Oh, that is a different brown. That's interesting. Okay. Well,
Were they accepted?
shoot, what was that other brown? Was it the chocolate? It was, wasn't it? Ew.
They had to be when I got to a certain age. But even I wasn't as big as some.
Yep. Okay. I can see how it's coming out on your fingers. How's it coming out on him?
That's surprisingly good, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Give that a second to dry into place. It's gonna be a lot to paint over, but you know, that's fine.
Right. Oh my god, I can't believe that it's finally happening this Sunday.
I know, it's just... It's so easy to kind of forget, because like Jesse was like talking about doing a stream when we first started playing.
Yeah.
And it'll like... Then he's like, I think we're actually gonna do... Oh, right! That's the whole reason that we're all like... We're working towards this.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm really excited. I'm so happy with how that table turned out.
Oh man. Yeah, so we did a test stream / recording this Sunday, and boy, the table that Harry and Nolan put together, it just looks really, really good.
Reinvented.
It's stunning.
That shore. When I wake up at night, spitting up water, it's reminders of the time.
One day we should go back and like pull little clips out of that to share with people,
Oh, for sure.
because most of it is just, you know, tech fuckery, but like.
Leave it in the
Yeah,
past.
that should do.
It's not that I'm hiding anything from you.
So now we're still working on the skin. What would be the next?
All right, let's see.
I'm thinking it's looking pretty alright. Like, obviously a lot of flecking, but...
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna go great when everything else is like painted around it and whatnot.
I'm thinking so.
So what might be good now is a slight. Okay, so I would say that a layer of highlighting would be good, and there's two ways to highlight. One is dry brushing, but with the flecking already having been done the way it is, I don't think that that's the best option. So you can see how that's sort of like splattered on the skin and everything like that. So if you dry brush, you'd lose a lot of that detail. I think a better way would be basically, I'll try to demonstrate on a different model. So what you do is you take a lighter color that you want, and actually I'll use his hammer if that's all right.
Yep, totally
Because
fine.
you're going to paint over that later anyway. So you would take a lighter gray, not too crazy light, but like this one right here. Get a little bit of that on your palette. All right, we'll do it. Actually, oh no, that's the different one. Okay, so we'll get this here. Oh, you're almost dead, aren't you? Come on. Oh my gosh.
A little ketchup smack.
There we go.
Hey.
And so you take some water and you water it down until it's pretty thin. And then you almost kind of glaze it. You wipe a lot of it off and then you just kind of glaze it on the areas that you want to highlight. So if we were doing the hammer, we'd sort of just like, actually it needs to be a little wetter, or a little more watered down.
And I will feel less like I have been.
So it's almost kind of like a wash at that point.
Right, but you're just sort of very lightly brushing it on the highlights instead.
Gotcha.
Instead of just washing it over
The whole
everything and
area.
letting it sink in, you're sort of doing this little thing, and then you can even just sort of like,
Tap it up.
right, with your finger, and then it just produces that subtle highlight.
Oh, okay.
And so you could hit that on like the ridge of his hair as it goes back, and then down his nose, and maybe a little on each cheek, like you're applying sunscreen.
Okay.
And it'll hit all the aspects of the face that call the most attention when somebody's viewing it from like tabletop height, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I try to paint for tabletop viewing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not going to win any painting competitions if you pick it up and look at it like super close in. It's not the most impressive paint job, but when you're sitting there playing the game, it looks really good from like almost an impressionist standpoint. You know, where you look close at a Monet and it's just like blobs of paint,
Yeah.
but then when you view it from further away, you get the whole picture.
Yeah.
Oh, stop being so big. If these do come into conflict with the party, I'm interested to see how they do. I had a very fun experience of unleashing some giants on the party, a different party not too long ago, and like they were a party that had just reached, you know, level 5, and they were feeling pretty good about themselves and the world and their place in it, and then a giant just just like knocked one of them unconscious in one round, and they were like, oh, there are dangerous things in the world. So I don't know if a treant is going to do the same thing, but I'm excited to find out.
Warm, amorphous, but comforting and evoking ideas that become words. Come with me, child.
God, they really are big. I'm still only like halfway through painting one of my hill giants, and they actually have way more surface area because they're so much like rounder and like not as tall and skinny as the treants. But still, this is like
It's a lot.
It's so much.
Eyes closed. The thoughts and emotions enter your mind once more. The words come to you interpreting. The womb I grant, but withers without faith. Always will shall find you again. But until it does, rest.
Mm. How's that highlighting going?
Just about done, I think.
Nice. So on the less fun side of life, how are we feeling about Iron Belly kind of taking a back seat?
Oh, I don't know.
I know,
Like,
right?
I'm really excited for Arno, but like, man, it's been a long time that we've been part of that world, and I'm not quite ready to let that take a backseat.
I know.
Totally understand why, though. I mean, like, it was. I mean, I know we talked about like, should we just stream Iron Belly? But I agree. Like, picking up in the middle is kind of not a lot of fun for anybody.
Exactly.
So I'm sure it'll like become less sad as we get more invested in Honor, though. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
definitely sad though, because like I feel like you mentioned you had the similar thing with Pelton, that like one of the longest lived characters
Yeah.
that you've had, and same for me with Give, where like it just I've gotten so invested in this character that
Yeah, at least so far, Peldon is the longest for me.
yeah.
By a pretty long shot, too. I've never had this glorious experience of a really long-running campaign.
Yeah. Let's see.
You just about wrapped up with
Yeah, I think so.
that side of
That's
things?
looking all right for the highlighting. I did a little on the knuckles, a little on the top of the feet.
Oh, nice.
Don't know if that was
Yeah, sweet.
art theory or anything, but
So, so the next thing to do is probably a light wash. So rather than something as heavy as Nuln oil, I actually have that jar of custom-made black wash.
okay.
And you can literally just paint it all over his skin, and it'll give that slight darkening
Okay.
to the recesses and whatnot.
Last night while we were sleeping,
Oh boy, that's really on there.
Yeah, those jars, they always seal on pretty tight.
My hands are just sliding right over the top of it.
previous times where I
Want me to give it a shot?
Yeah, if you wanna.
I might not be any better at it, but nope. Nope.
Yeah, honestly, like that might actually. Oh wait, you got a little trick.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey! Break up the sediment.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I will say, as someone not playing in Honor, I'm definitely gonna miss Iron Belly being his first.
Oh, I know. You actually
Yeah.
have to say goodbye to Eldunk. Like,
Well, I mean, we you know, every once in a
well,
while.
but I mean, like,
Which is actually why I'm glad we're not streaming Iron Belly.
yeah, that would be a lot to take on. Is
It would basically mean I don't get to play it.
Right. Oof. 5 fucking wyverns. I was, you know, like not actually, but I was so upset. I was like, what? 5? What do you mean? No!
don't you know? You never split the party.
At least we had the wizards with us. That
Yeah.
was nice.
He
And then they unleashed friggin' lightning bolts.
Poor Peldon.
Ugh. The flashbacks are real.
I know. Yeah, did you see Harry's very smug grin as soon as that got let go? Like, just Tempest just backseated there for a moment. Went, ah.
I miss the old days. When I wasn't in a bottle.
Good times. We need to let him out at some point.
Yeah, we do. He's gonna be pissed next time we see him.
Yeah. It's been 3 months.
I have been falling for 30 minutes.
We are the worst gen parents, honestly. Yeah, we promised to take care of them. What do they even eat? I don't know.
Although actually, it's really only been about a day.
Oh god, you're right.
Yeah. That's.
Time is very micro.
Oh yeah.
Like,
on Iron Belly especially.
I played on some campaigns where it's just like, all right, and 3 months later.
Mm-hmm. You get to the place.
I think it's because it's all one mountain.
Yeah.
Any trip is like 1 day or maybe 2.
Yeah.
Right.
For some games, it's like, okay, we're just gonna skip past this 2 weeks of travel.
Yeah. Or like they happen, but there's like one incident per day.
Yeah.
And not multiple sessions.
Yeah.
It's that jumping back and forth between covering multiple days in one session or, you know, multiple sessions not even finishing an entire day in game time. Which, you know, you see on shows like Critical Role and stuff too.
Matt even said at one point, it's like, at a certain level, it becomes less and less fun for me to make you roll for every single day.
Right.
Which honestly makes a lot of sense. Like, it's such a great threat at early levels, the random bandit encounters. And
Yeah.
later on, it's like, okay, you're high enough level, you can probably deal with a random raid in the night.
Yeah. And then, of course, at some level, you just hit, like, you know, you get teleport.
Yeah.
And it's like, I go there instantly.
I didn't say how I'm getting there, I just said I go there.
I'm there right now.
This is where I'd be kind of curious to see how it would shake down on the other primer. Because I have this issue where sometimes a paint or a wash or something will go on just fine, and other times it'll just pool up and not want to apply right. It'll just keep separating.
Interesting.
And I just have to keep going over and over and over and over.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes for sure. Oh, now I get to pick what colors I want to paint these mushrooms that are growing on his legs. Chat, feel free to suggest what color you want the mushrooms to be.
Your classic fly aminatas.
What now?
The red cap, white speckles.
Oh, yeah. When Nolan painted his, he painted Occam Zeus.
Yes.
He
That
got,
boy.
he had those on the base.
Okay. Go over that again.
Oh my god, I'm almost there.
One more leg.
I've almost finished the first
One
step
more leg.
of this very extensive fucking model.
And then you only have one more after that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so many mushrooms.
I do that every time with like Hero Forges. Every time I make the little minis on the base, little additional scenery models.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, that looks so cool. Oh god, I have to paint them.
I have to paint it now.
Like my kobold I started painting on, and I just started working on the crystals, and I got so wrapped up in that. I'm like, oh god, I don't even know how to do kobold scales. Like, so I'm distracting myself with the tiny foliage and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that's that wash done.
Hey. So now, what would you say is like the next layer outward that would be a good target for your next?
Probably hair, I'll be honest. So,
Okay. And
go for
what
kind
is
of-
the hair going to be?
Auburn. So I was thinking a little bit more on the reddish side for his actual hair, and a little darker for the beard, a little more on the brownish side.
Cool.
So
So it might be good to have then to use sort of the central pot and put like the main color you want there, and then sort of, you know, like or basically like put some of the sort of reddish or orangish here, and then a brownish there, and sort of mix them in together so that you have sort of like a blended transition that you can pull from.
let's see. That is extraordinarily crimson, but that might work.
Do you want like a more orangey red?
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
So there's a little, oh no, that's like, wow, it says it's pink, but that really looks orange.
Hello.
You might have to mix it. I don't actually think I have any orange in the bottle.
Burnt umber. Light burnt umber might actually be a decent base for mixing in a little bit.
Nice.
Actually, I wonder if I could do that with a little crimson and see if that pans out. Art was definitely never really my thing. So
Me neither.
Color theory is wasted on me.
Yeah. I don't know the first damn thing about it, honestly. Other than like what a color wheel is.
Right.
I think I did it. Now I have to wait for the paint to dry before I can oil it. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually not too bad at lighten that up a little bit. I think I've got good. That would be good for the beard.
Nice.
So I'll do a little white on the side, mix that all there for the hair.
If you, it might be better to lighten that up to go instead for like a more neutral yellow,
Okay.
because that is going to turn it a little more pink as opposed to like the sort of orangey. So this is an option, or if you've got another neutral yellow over there.
I have that's not very neutral. That's pretty aggressive.
Well, that's not
Could work.
too bad though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try that. Oh yeah, okay. That
Do
looks
the-
a lot more bright in the bottle.
Yeah. Do the thing where you just like mix it in a little bit on the side and see if it's doing what you want. And if not, you haven't.
I just turned it to a light brown. That just went straight back to light umber.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, all right, maybe the white is the better option to go there.
Lightens the red, it'll turn pink. If it lightens the brown, we're spot on.
Right. Boy, we really are going to have the beefiest party, aren't we?
Oh, I mean, it's ridiculous. So many martial classes.
And then, of course, what I'm pretty sure is a moon circle druid.
Oh yeah.
So, like, that's a whole lot of extra hit points.
Yeah. Bear tanks.
Bear tanks. Like bear
Two-bear
tank.
tank.
Two-bear tank!
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Got it?
There we go. Ha. Who needs color theory when you have guesswork?
I mean, honestly, though,
At a certain point, you can just absolutely fake it.
this is one time when the phrase fuck around and find out is not a threat.
Actually. Well, it depends on how aggressively you paint.
That's true. Now, am I just misremembering, or I can't remember a moment in Campaign 1 where Keyleth turned into a bear and talked with Trinket?
Oh. Yeah, see, now I'm thinking, let's see.
Positive there was some discussion of Trinket. I don't know if it was her being in bear form.
I remember Vex learning speak with animals.
Yeah.
She talked with Trinket. And maybe Keyleth did too, but like...
I know Tova did. There was a bit where Tova was in her bear form
Okay.
and was talking with Trinket. And there was that whole discussion of like, well, if I'm a bear, can I talk to the bear?
Yeah.
And Matt's like, sure.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know if Keyleth ever did that, though.
I know. That's what I'm thinking is like, totally should have gotten in on that. One animal to another.
Bear, bear, bear.
Bar, 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 bar.
And yeah, and I know Keyleth has used speak with animals on to talk with Trinket before.
Right.
But actual conversing in the form.
You wake up on a beach. You can hear the waves crashing, but it's night. The moon high in the sky around full. The singular beacon of white light above.
So I know we can't talk spoilers because viewers and because Alex isn't caught up, but I'm starting to watch the post-COVID break crit roll episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I just got started on episode 100 actually.
Oof.
I know, yeah, I'm a little far back. I've been under new training at work,
Yeah.
so I've been just go, and I haven't had time to like really have an easy enough day where I can reasonably put on a 4-hour podcast and track it from beginning to end.
Totally.
Full moon you watch as the dark
But I'm really looking forward to get caught up.
There's some good stuff.
Yeah, I
There's
keep
some-
hearing that, and I'm like, I don't want to hear it, but I also kind of want to hear it.
Yep.
light left,
It's
to leave you in
mm-hmm.
complete shadow.
It's been good. I've been enjoying myself a lot.
Feel your heart beating
I
into
think I just finished 102. Yeah, I'm starting on 103 now, so nearly caught up.
just as the last
There was a piece of fan art that came out from this week's episode, and I was just like, my heart,
Don't do this to me.
my emotions.
My heart, my soul.
around you than but
I think tomorrow I just need to try and watch like 3 straight episodes.
It's
On Thursday.
a tall order.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I actually watched, or I tried to watch live this Thursday, the most recent episode, and my internet wasn't up to it, and it kept cutting out. And I was like, oh man, the one time I could actually do it, because it's not easy for me to watch a live show on Thursdays. I got a wife, I got 3 kids. It's like, that's not,
Yeah.
you know. But I almost did it, and then my internet just sort of crapped out on me for some reason. Not that we know anything about internet crapping out
Nope, that's not a thing that ever happens. That's,
in this show.
that's a myth.
Mm-hmm.
but to the point of
You thought the internet wouldn't crap out. You were mistaken.
where the moon was in the sky.
Come on.
The shadow pulls back, but instead of a white moon, a yellow one.
I don't know why, but that made me think of you wouldn't download a car.
I absolutely would. If
I
could.
fucking would.
Hey, and with the more and more commonplace practice of 3D printing, it is becoming more and more a feasible possibility.
One day you will be able to download a car.
So like the idea of people downloading parts and assembling their own 3D printers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Wait. Is this how it starts? Is this how Skynet starts?
mm-hmm.
Can't believe that real life people in real life named an actual AI global defense system Skynet.
Like, oh, you were just inviting danger.
Mm-hmm.
Although at the same time, if you had the opportunity to name something like that, would you really not name it Skynet?
Of course not. I'm not tempting the gods that way.
Well, it's like, there's that like superfood protein shake, whatever, but it's like a breakfast in a can, but they call it
Soylent Green! Just Soylent. Yeah.
Because it's like soy based. I'm like, okay, clever, but also
No!
now you're raising a lot of questions that I didn't previously have. I was fine until you said Soylent.
It's like naming your shop the Hannibal Lecter Butchery. It's like,
What?
well, I get that you might just be a big fan, but like you have to realize you're making me think something, and I don't think that's what you want to be making me think.
And actually, speaking of cursed names, there was a bit that happened today with homebrew where I had a batch nearly go belly up on me. I had to rush out to Portland and back today to pick up a specific kind of pressure release valve called a spunding valve. Mm-hmm. We had it show up on Monday for our brew day. We started using it. It doesn't let off the excess gas. It didn't work. So I had to rush out because it was, I had Roberto at home, like, bleeding the gas manually.
Yeah.
I was like, this is all because I named it Ted Spundy. Like, this is all because
that is because you... I mean,
Like, I did this to myself.
I had sympathy for you until you said that.
I thought I was being cute and clever, and then the universe just said, no.
No.
No, you have to buy a new spunding valve.
Mm-hmm. Ted Spundy. Jesus Christ. Boo. As so many things do these days, reminds me of Letterkenny, because I've been watching a lot of Letterkenny recently.
I actually need to start watching that.
You never seen it?
No, there's so many references that I know are Letterkenny, and I make the same kind of references, but I don't actually find myself very aware of the
Alex,
show. I know,
boy,
I know.
we gotta have a view at some point.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Take the paint.
I can't remember if I've mentioned this on Crafternoon before, but one reason I have been watching a lot of Letterkenny is character research.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
In a very obtuse way, but a Letterkenny enthusiast will be like, hey.
Hey, wait a minute.
I get that reference. So much. So much tree on this ant. Ba-ba-bum-bum-bum. Little bit of watering it down. How's that going?
Good. I'm trying to figure out the hooves. Actually, the Titan buff might not be a bad mixing for that one.
Yeah? You gonna make them a little bit like black, or what are you thinking?
Thinking black might actually be a really good place to start.
So obviously, as I'm going through this initial coat on the treants, I'm not worried about getting brown on the rock that he's standing on, or on his hand, or anything like that, because that can all be touched up later. I'm almost done here.
It does seem like the sort of forgiving aspect of those larger type models is that if you've got a lot of the same kind of color, it seems like you can just kind of be a little more liberal with your applications, and then go back over later.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, funnily enough, I haven't actually painted too many large-scale minis in my life.
Really?
A lot of my painting experience was on Warhammer, and you only have, if anything, slightly larger vehicles, of which you got like 1 or 2 per army.
Right.
And meanwhile, just dozens and dozens and dozens of regular, medium, humanoid-sized creatures. And so, like, I'd never painted a dragon before that red one.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Honestly, it came out looking amazing.
Oh, I'm so happy with it. I know some things that I'm going to do a little bit smarter on my next dragon, but still, in general, it's just, I really like it a lot.
This is my favorite part right here. Getting the hooves on the inside.
Oh, yes.
Ugh. Come on.
Get in there.
Brush.
Ooh, it's exciting. We're going to have fully painted minis for our Game Zero
I know, right?
on Sunday.
I wonder if anyone else has got that same kind of setup going into it, or if
Well-
we'll be the only ones.
I know that Nolan said he was planning on having his painted.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Harry has his mini. I don't actually know. I don't know for sure. He might actually be painting it next Tuesday now that I think about it.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I believe he said he is, and is he in the first session 0 though?
No.
Okay, so yeah, well, it's about his first D1.
Also, I don't think I've said enough how much I appreciate that our Game Zero is Yumi and Bridget.
I know, I love it.
Like, come
It
on.
is honestly, who better?
It's so perfect.
It is kind of like my dream session 0 team right there.
Yeah. But I'm also looking forward to, and at the same time slightly dreading the experience of, oh, I will treat this person the same way that I treat Give. Oh wait,
Nope, can't do that.
this is a different person.
Take it back. Take it back.
Although, in that same vein, there's not a lot of overlap between Peldon and Helry.
Honestly, I was starting to get the vibe, but
Yeah.
I don't know too much about Hellry, so.
Yeah.
No, it was the wet. I made mistakes.
Mistakes have been made. Oof. No sunburns, though.
Still biting you?
Oh, man. It's just been all day.
I'm assuming aloe isn't really helping you out too much right now.
You know, that's on me. I haven't actually applied aloe. I've just been applying the sleep method.
Ah, well, that's good too.
You know, body can't hurt if you're asleep.
Except for the. Have you ever had that though, where you get like a cramp or a stomach ache or something, and it translates into the dream, and you're like, that's just not fair.
I was trying to escape. Here, just about done.
Yep.
Ooh, exciting.
Well, this is where like an additional highlighting process would probably come in handy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll get in there and do that. And it's up to you how detailed you want to get, but on a character with rather prominent hair like yours has, I do think it's worth taking the extra time to just sort of like make that part of everything stand out a bit.
Oh yeah, I'm all for that, honestly. Yeah, Hero Forge has that like half buzz undercut thing. I'm like, yep, that's the one.
Hellry too?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was the other thing when we primered your mini with the Chaos Black right beforehand. I was like, well, that hair looks familiar.
Where have I seen this?
I've seen that before.
Dry for a second. I accidentally touched the top of his head while I was doing the hooves.
Womp womp. That'll happen. That was actually like my biggest struggle with the Red Dragon.
Keep touching the same spot you just went over.
And because when something's on a flying base, you don't actually glue it together before you start painting it. Because you don't want to accidentally get paint on the flying part of the base. So I had to actually handle the dragon himself without being able to, like on the treants, I'm able to just hold the circular base.
Yeah. But
And I'm
you
not
can't do
rubbing
that with
paint
the
off or
dragon.
anything. Right. All right, let's get a fresh close-up in here. Ooh.
Piece by piece. Like painting by numbers, but a lot smaller.
Oh, man. Look at him. Oh, boy. Okay. So now then what I would recommend is going back in there and taking the same color that you've used, mixing a little bit of probably white in there to get a starker highlight color. I'm actually going to grab Hellry.
So I'm actually going to have to remix this just a little bit just because it's drying out in the middle. Oh boy. Yeah, this whole palette's drying up on me. Ah!
Yeah, that'll happen. And so basically,
Doing the smart thing with the wet pad there.
the wet palette. Actually, and if you want to use that, it's not as necessary for what I'm doing. So why don't we actually? Oh, well, see, you've already got some in there. So I guess when we do future colors.
Yeah, that's fine.
So basically, just sort of painting the raised parts directly with the highlighted color, leaving the recesses in there.
Gotcha.
You know, and if you do that on that, that's gonna look super great.
All right. Let me redo some of these colors here.
Okay, we got a Nolan oil. I'm gonna slide this slightly so I can take advantage.
Brown.
So what I'm doing is I'm doing a half Nuln oil, half water mix, and I'm going to paint that over the whole wooden surface. And then once that's dry, I'm going to go in there with a very liberal dry brush. So we get some of that in there. Can I steal one of the pots?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Just a little bit right there.
Okay, I lied. A lot more white. It's weird that the white doesn't seem very strongly pigmented.
Right.
You kind of have to keep using it, whereas like the black is just one drop and you're
Yep.
good.
And your paint is now black.
Yep.
Well done.
Miss having the ability to affect greater change, but
And it is worth considering doing like multiple layers, like maybe a layer like that, and then, and then mix in a little more white, and then go again, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Focus on that too.
Oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Actually, you know what? I might have made it a little too light. After the red dragon, I applied straight Nuln Oil, and it was way too strong.
Oh no.
And so I kind of panicked a little bit on this one, and I may have underrepresented the Nuln and mixed it with too much water. But
It is a little easier to go darker than lighter, I think.
right. That's about what we want. It also has a much less stark effect, I should have realized, on a darker color like this
That would make sense.
than on the red and the yellow from the dragon.
Towards achieving that sort of change. I mean, if you're for it, I could answer that one.
Okay, fine, you win.
All of us, me here, you here, these people.
Mar white.
Mar.
Eventually, one day,
Sugar in water.
pray for a miracle. Pray for something to save them, to whatever gods are nearby. And that prayer will be
Damn. Okay, I'm gonna try a little bit of just straight Nuln in a spot that's less seen.
that's where the champion
Oh shit, that's what I want.
You got it.
Okay. Well, now I know. And knowing, etc., etc.
never stops.
Yeah, so that's good to know though. For a darker color, you can go a lot heavier on the shading. And then we will dry brush this up several times and get that wood texture we really want.
Oh, there we go. Okay, light back a little. My color theory is really more of a barely tenable hypothesis, yet to be peer reviewed.
Color supposition. It's more of a color thesis at this point.
Kind of a color assumption, really.
Mhm.
Wishes. Questions.
Oh no. Oh, I missed some brown spots that were supposed to be brown. That's okay.
Oh.
We'll fix that later.
We'll do it in post.
We'll do it live!
Strange sensation like your
Much like tonight's broadcast.
body is
Brought to you by.
You feel these feelings envelop you like a warm bath. Your body floating atop a heated ocean of gentle waves. Peace finds your mind with the familiar smells of salt and brine, the sound of seagulls, and the air around you. Broken surf crashing on a shore somewhere. You open your eyes, and as opposed to the mountainside, you're looking up at a clear blue sky, not a cloud around. You try and focus, just blue, impossibly wide blue. And you see something. Is it a cloud or is it a face? The faint tracings of
Yeah, that is doing just what we want it to.
not but on a scale that consumes the entire blue sky above you. It's almost unsettling, but it's soft.
I think I could stand to
It's like a trick of the eye.
ISO just a little bit.
And you swear
A
you
little
see
bit
it
more of that
smile.
detail in there.
These feelings wash into your mind, your heart. Emotions and images conveying ideas and communication wordlessly, as if to say, you have been lost. Caught in a dark current,
Autumn orange is so solid.
an undertow.
Yeah. That's always interesting to me. It's not even just the color, it's the consistency of different paints and like how they will totally just like overpower or be overpowered
Yeah.
based on something. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
But there's like something in the chemical composition that makes it just completely get dominated by or dominate other colors. Like the black and white thing we were just talking about.
Yeah. There we go. That's a reasonable highlight, I guess.
These waters are your own.
Alright, let's see here.
I know what's happened.
Did I miss any big sections?
These waters are me.
Get this teeny tiny little brush so I can get in there on his beard.
I am the lands that rise from them. I am the trees that bind them. I am the beasts that keep them.
Oh yeah, some of these
This seed of
branches.
darkness. This seed I cannot heal. But I can help you carry the burden. I can free you from the fiend that feeds. If you would but protect
That didn't
all
work out.
it is.
Not at all. Not even a little bit. That repainted his beard entirely.
Yeah, that was not what I wanted.
Not even a
My
little.
shore.
Yeesh.
And guide my children as
That's
we
fine. You just have to
guide.
reinvent the same color you did a little while ago.
Yes, I would.
And embrace me.
Alright, that's a good start. A lot of dry brushing on you later.
It is our nature to adapt. Come.
That is... I'm going to call that a good oil. How are we doing on that highlight?
Good. I kind of redacted a little bit and started doing little lights. Because the highlight thing was just kind of painting over everything, and I wasn't getting anything out of it, so
Gotcha.
I'll go in the cracks with a little darker shade, and that seems to be making a pretty decent little pop there. And I suppose I could probably dry brush over it or something, but...
Can we get a close-up?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you got those lines starting to show up there?
Yeah.
With the recesses and everything? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was having a lot of difficulties getting the highlights to actually show up, so I just figured I'd go in the low spots and darken it up and just do the same thing in reverse.
Very
Hopefully
nice.
that'll...
Getting a little bit of that highlight on the beard too. Very cool. Very cool. Sweetness. Well, with it being 7:40, it is a good time for us to take our first and only break that we usually do about halfway through. So we are going to pop off stream for a little bit, about 10 or 15 minutes, leave you with some tunes, and then we will come back and keep working on the treants and the boy.
All right.
Catch you in a few. Ah, see, I remembered the microphone this time. That's good.
I was checking. I was like, all right. Before we get too far along,
That's what's supposed to happen when we do this stream. Hey,
We
we're
did it.
back.
We did it.
We did it. We got fresh beer, and we are ready to continue the painting. Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
This show happened.
Prost.
Despite what? Yes.
despite just pure. Full stop. Despite.
The French version of that. It happened of spite.
It happened of spite. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Keep that from flaring out too much.
So I am going to give the other treant a wash, and then I think by the time I'm done with that, the first one should theoretically be ready to start dry brushing, which is very exciting. So this Nuln oil here is like, it's liquid gold. It's the best shading ink. It's so nice, but it is, as I mentioned before, extremely strong. And you have to be judicious in your application of it. But for a surface like the treant, it's just...
So I imagine too, I'm probably good to start doing leathers in some of the more broad areas at this point, right?
Yeah, so are you wanting to go with just sort of like a generic sort of brown leather?
Yeah, some sort of light and dark browns. Some I actually think the buff would be great for the kind of the fur lining.
Yeah, totally.
I'm thinking so.
It might be worth figuring out a place for another accent color, and with his hair being like it is, you could go for a blue somewhere.
Well, that's perfect because he's got kind of almost teal-ish eyes, so if there was a teal-ish accent, kind of just tie the face into something else as well.
Nice.
I'm a sucker for teal, if you couldn't tell from GIF.
What? That's not obvious at all.
Not even a little. Light brown.
Also, the wax stamp on the letter. I'm just putting that together now.
Yeah, I actually need to get you a proper version now that I have a real nice stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have
What?
2 burnt umber lights.
Oh, one of them should be mine. I think I have that one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Golden is really good paints. They're also expensive.
They are very expensive.
But you know what? I can't complain too hard.
Yeah. You pay for quality.
Mm-hmm.
I've said before, that's why I do Citadel. They're just really, really, really good paint, you know?
I mean, they've been doing paints for a long time, so it stands to reason that they've got a pretty solid grip on what they're doing.
Right.
Oh boy, that might be a little much, but that's fine. Alright, I forgot. White, no pigment.
Oh, man. Honestly, this is just one of my favorite ways to sit down and spend a few hours.
Honestly, I've got to really get more into painting because this is just really nice.
It's
And-
so zen, right?
Yeah. Well, like, my big takeaway with Give was that it was really nice, but it was also incredibly tedious because of, like I mentioned, me having to go over the same spot so many times until I got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess made it all the more rewarding when I was, like, able to say, I think I'm done.
Right.
I think that's it. I think I got it. But...
If you can get there without the other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been learning a lot today, so that's perfect.
Yeah. And honestly, it's, you know, it can be much more tedious if you're doing it solo.
Yeah.
And you can put on a TV show and a podcast, and that's what I do. I'll watch a show, or I'll watch, like, you know, my YouTube videos or whatever. And but like just hanging out, you know, we only did it a couple of times, but Crafternoons before this show, where everybody would come hang out here in the garage and paint, that was just cool. And like different people would put on like their own, you know, music playlists, and we'd talk about this, that, and the other fucking thing. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't think I got to really sit in on one of those. But
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you were at one of literally 2 or 3 times that it ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Tuesdays are weird for me. Like,
Yeah.
work being what it is, but I don't have work tonight.
Hey.
Which is honestly a relief.
Yeah.
Like I said, things have been crazy at work, and so I'm happy to have a couple days off where I can just come hang out and paint.
Mentally reset is also like probably a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I need that every once in a while. I kept trying to get in the chair and working and writing today, but between the last week for me in general, and then just being like, you know, so miserable with the sunburns and everything like that, I think it was around like 12:30 where I was just like, you know,
How about nah?
today's not happening. Today simply isn't.
Yeah, honestly, seriously, mental health days, mental reset days, those are incredibly important.
Really.
I don't think people take advantage of them as often as they should.
Yeah.
And that's just a general statement. There are a lot of people who just plow through when they should just take a little bit more time for themselves.
Exactly. And of course, you know, it's important to recognize that a lot of people are in situations where they can't do that because
Oh yeah, absolutely.
their job and everything like that.
Well, that's where things got weird for me too, because it was like I was getting to a point where I was starting to hit a wall at work, and I was about ready to just call in. I was like, I can't do that though.
Right.
Like I'm not in a position where I can just call in to work and say bad brain day, can't do it.
Right.
But you know, save up a little PTO and actually make it work on my own time.
Exactly.
It all works out.
Yeah, it's good when jobs provide some sort of framework for that.
Yeah.
Megan's company is another really, really good one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty freaking cool. God, I don't know if I've actually even said this on Crafternoon. Megan's my wife. I'm sure I must have mentioned her, but
I think you did the Crafternoon with Jesse.
okay, there we go. That makes sense. It's weird because, you know, like I've got my private YouTube channel. I mean, like not private, but like my personal YouTube channel. And I'm always forgetting what I've said on there, what I've said to like my email list and everything like that. And so I'll say something and I can just tell people are like, what? You what, mate?
You what?
You feel the back of your neck begin to grow warm and the hair begin to stand up. While you cannot see, or you can still sense your body
Please.
presence unmoving but moving so quickly, this dual sensations conflict,
Be good to me.
causing your heart rate to jump. And then there you see
Like this is one of those like the
gray glow approaching.
just the solid tight paints where just every time I've worked with the Titan buff, it looks great once you get it thinned out a little bit. But every time it applies on a surface, it just congeals. I'm like, nope, no, stop, spread.
Yeah, some of them are like that. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I think we're going to start going in for a dry brush on the first one. Oh. Don't forget to stretch before you paint.
Very important. Limber up.
Yes.
Is Zombieland taught me anything?
All right, so first, Angus, for the record, I'm putting your Nuln Oil right here.
Okay.
Okay. Don't want you to leave without that. So first we're going to dry brush on some Mornfang Brown. See what that does for us. Should be pretty good, I think. And we're going to use, as usual with the dry brush, a nice, wide, stiff bristle brush, which I think was stolen from another person who came and did Crafternoon, but it's been here for like 4 weeks, so you know what? I'm just rolling with it.
It's here now.
It's here now.
What's this compilation? Is this one Sad Wizard vibes?
This, I believe, is... Oh, you are correct.
Ah.
Good spot.
I heard some Widowgast.
Yeah. Now, as per usual, this is Autumn Orange. We mention them every stream. They are a totally awesome artist. They do music that is like primarily based off of samples taken from Critical Role, and they're just super cool, awesome, you know, lo-fi vibes to hang out. They're perfect for painting, any other type of crafting that you're doing. We love them very much.
Mm-hmm.
So go give Autumn Orange some love on YouTube and elsewhere.
My name was Bren Aldrich Elmondred.
Heckin'. So you're going in on the leathers right now, yeah?
Yeah, leathers and furs.
Nice.
I'll probably have to do some sort of wash over it because it looks pretty monocolored.
Okay.
Like, not bad, but could have a little more depth to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is looking so good.
Oh, dang.
Uh-huh.
Oh, dang. Love when that wash just sinks right in the little nooks and grannies.
This is exactly what it's designed for, you know? I'm doing a very, in terms of dry brushing, I'm doing a pretty wet dry brush actually. So I'm not wiping it off as much as I normally might. And that's okay. It's okay on a great big mini like this. It's okay for it to look a little more splotchy and a little more inconsistent because, you know, trees don't grow with every piece of them being the exact same color. So you can have streaks of brighter colors and streaks of darker colors and everything like that. And that's okay on big guys like this. As opposed to the dragon where I did want a more consistent look to all of the red scales.
Yes. Yes. Let's get them home. Yes. Yes. Let's get them home. Yes. Yes. Let's get them home.
What's that moss that grows it's like old man's beard or something like that? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
It's a real life moss.
Yeah, there is a moss called Old Man's Beard.
There we go.
I keep thinking reindeer moss, but that's specifically what I have for, like, terrariums and stuff.
Right. Well, they gave the treants a great big gaggle of moss hanging from their mouths. Which is just totally awesome to me.
The reason I want to find these people and rescue them is not to use them, and it's not because we will
As per usual, I'm going a little bit harder on the highlights towards the face because that is, in general, the part of the model that you want the eye drawn towards, and brighter areas tend to draw the eye more. So I give greater highlights to the face. I might even go back and paint some highlights on without a dry brush just to really emphasize it.
let's get them home.
But we'll see how I feel when I've finished the dry brush of the whole model.
Yes. Yes. Let's get them home. Yes. Yes. Let's get them home.
It's real fun. Well, you know when you really like somebody, but then you start to know them.
Yes,
You go,
Dad.
do I like them?
Yes, Dad.
Or do I like what I thought they were?
Honestly, their Jester album makes me cry sometimes.
So good.
It's really, really good.
It was actually cool because I was ahead of Angus for a while. Now he's ahead of me in campaign 2.
Uh-huh.
And so I was just like biting my tongue, just like, come on, come on. Tell me when you get to the certain part. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes.
So, like, I think one day I was
Was it
like,
the big one?
it was the big one.
Oh, boy.
So, like, he pings me. He's like, Laura Bailey. I'm like, I know.
Oh, that big one.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about earlier.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that one I got to early part of the year, that first big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple month break, so I've been catching up from like 40 to now 102 in the last like 2 months.
Yeah, but the big Laura Bailey one, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he pinged me while I was at work. He's like, ah! And I'm like, ah! I told you!
This is so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Until I watched it and then I was like, oh, right.
That's the one.
Yes.
I've been I was off Twitter for a very long time because in the age before social distancing, it turned out to be really bad for me. But in the age where I have very limited means of human interaction, it turns out to be something that I've drifted somewhat reluctantly back into. But I am not great about muting spoilers.
Yep.
And so every week I catch one or two things, not explicit details, but they're like blah 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 thing, and I'm like, huh. And then I start watching the episode, and something will ping, and I'm like, oh, this is what Twitter was talking about. Ooh, what's that? What is it? What is it?
I kind of like that when you get half a spoiler.
Yeah.
With no context.
It's so much better.
Because then you're like, yeah, it was kind of spoiled, but not really.
Yeah.
It's still a surprise.
And even if it's fully spoiled, there's the fact of getting the reactions and the presentation of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that.
100%.
By the way, Angus, was it you who suggested that we all start watching She-Ra?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
That show's fucking awesome.
We started watching it in our house, and oh my goodness, I am head over heels. It is so good.
Such good.
Nope.
Oh, goodbye, little paint pot. Yeah, that was another one that I was surprised to find myself crying at.
Oh, I already know that, like, there will be tears.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm already invested, and we're barely into season 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Garrett, have you ever read like Nimona or Lumberjanes or any of those?
No, I've heard Lumberjanes is amazing. I've never heard of Nimona.
Yeah, that was her one before Lumberjanes, actually. So like, yeah, it's just really cool how she went from doing these just web comics and then like actual physical comics, and then now freaking what is it like? DreamWorks animated.
Yeah.
Netflix
Wow.
hosted animated TV show just within about the span of like 7-8 years.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly your professional glow up right there.
right?
And like she's only 28, so
Right.
holy shit, good for you.
How much more do we have to look forward to? You know, that's what I think of. I'm just like, oh man, yes.
Lydia's in the chat room.
Hey, what's up, Lydia?
Hey, Lydia.
Oh, this is where the cool kids are hanging out.
You knew it all along.
We done told you. Yeah, there we go. Now I got a little bit of a yellow dry brush going on here, and I am liking what that is doing. See, that's kind of picking up some details on that face there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's starting to look like some really good gnarled old wood.
Yeah.
Why do you do this to me?
Belts!
Melts.
One of my favorite things about Hellry, honestly. Not that many extraneous details. It's all just like the armor, you know, and the cloak ruff,
Yeah.
and all the showy stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like on rogues and stuff like that, there's a bunch of like tiny little details that just aren't very showy. They're very functional. They make sense. They should be there.
Yeah.
But they're just not like that fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sitting here painting this, and I'm like, I thought the armor looked pretty simple, and now I'm getting here going, nope, there's details.
Mhm.
I have made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that always the way? Jungle House is quiet? Yeah, well. Like you said, all the cool kids are here.
No re.
No Reed, just Minnie.
Mini.
Well, I just remembered how much you love Steve and
How? Okay, I'll just pray. That's what I'll do. There's no logical way to make this angle work.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Ah!
Yep. That's my patron saint.
Oh, so you're a cleric.
Maybe.
You don't know.
You don't know. Nobody knows.
But we're all gonna find out soon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I forget how much you know about Hellry.
Not much.
Okay.
Me and Jesse are the only
Mostly
ones-
7'12".
Mm-hmm. What was that?
Me and Jesse are the only ones with all the info.
All the info.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just remember tall.
Yep.
Very tall.
She told.
Tall.
We missed a perfect opportunity to say, let it read.
Oh my. Yep. Boy.
It hurts.
I'm not gonna let that. I can't let that one down.
Hindsight.
It's the curse.
You hear about people being cursed with foresight. Imagine being cursed with hindsight.
Ugh.
No matter what you do, you immediately know the best possible thing you could have done.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Oh, what a curse! What a curse that would be! Oh, I want that in a game.
That
Or
would
in a
only
book
be-
or something.
That would only be a curse, though, if you're not allowed to learn from it. Otherwise,
Depends.
it would be a perfect way to learn. Like, do something once, it'll be done wrong, then you know exactly how to fix it the next time.
I could see that. I could also see human interactions being infinitely, permutatable.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's
sure,
terrible for human interaction stuff. It would be great for, like,
repetitive tasks.
yeah.
Yeah, well, oh my god, you'd be the best envelope stuffer in the history of envelope stuffers. Yeah, you would actually need some limits on that power. Otherwise, it would be like, okay, I coded this website. What's the best possible way I could have coded that website? Cool. That's what I'll do now.
Yeah. Anything open-ended is not considered complete, ergo you have no hindsight.
That's a good point. Okay, so this is already looking pretty good. I'm going to get a little bit of khaki in here as well.
A lot of times, I think that a traveler has left.
No. Lydia's right. Angus does need a mic.
You do.
Fair. I just need one that I can easily mute and unmute.
Yeah. You're this show's Danny Carr. No offense, not quite as cute, but like
Fair.
that's who you are.
Sure, I suppose so.
All you need now is a slightly unhealthy obsession with Constantine, and we're golden.
Yeah, there you go. Or buff. It's still turning out gray.
Nose!
Who designs these pigments? I swear to God.
Oh yeah, that khaki's doing good things for me. Not in a way that sounds, but look at that
That
face.
is looking good.
Look at that face! Ugh. Look at him face!
Look him face.
Look, him got the face.
This is an absolute travesty.
What's happening?
The one drop of black and the Titan, I'm trying to make a slightly darker buff, and it's just turning out gray.
Yeah, that'll happen. So what are you trying to make it?
So I was just trying to make a slightly darker Titan, so I could do like his horn there, and kind of a more like bone-like khaki. But gray is not exactly where I was going with it.
You might want to go for a little bit. So you're trying to get that but darker?
Yeah, just a wee bit darker.
Toss some of this in.
Okay. I think I'm done. Oh wait, no.
Oops, no, I don't want yellow. I want khaki.
Still have a little more fluff to do,
Great kid. Don't get khaki.
right? My favorite thing about Harrison Ford is that he never seems like he's happy to have been in any of movies he's ever been in, ever.
Right.
He just seems like perpetually grumpy that he got cast.
I don't know why they keep asking me to do these things. Well, why do you keep saying yes? Well, they offer me a shit ton of money. Like,
I mean, yeah, like, you break it down like that, and it's like, oh, it makes perfect sense. But
Right.
It's like, wow.
well, and you know what was funny was I was watching all of the predictions leading up to The Force Awakens,
Yeah.
and my favorite nerd culture pundits were like, "Hey, you know what's going to happen in this movie? Spoilers for The Force Awakens, by the way. You know what's going to happen in this movie? Han Solo is going to die." And other people were like, "What?" And they were like, "Listen, look at Harrison Ford's media interviews leading up to the movie. He's so happy. He's so thrilled. And he's never been thrilled about this before. And that's because Han Solo's going to die and he never has to do it again." And everybody was like, "What? You're crazy." And here we are.
And we've seen it.
I'm
We've seen it with
Boo-Boo
our own eyes.
We're all Boo Boo the Fool now.
Nope, that was no. Stop.
Stop it. Snap. Can you just fucking knock it off?
5 minutes.
Oh yeah, this is looking so fucking good. Look at my tree.
You got through those fast.
Yeah.
Lydia's asking what you're working on, Alex.
Oh yes. Actually, if I finish this up real quick.
Yeah, finish
I
that
think-
coat and then we can do a new close-up.
Yeah.
Show everybody the progress.
I will have to go over the tail because I messed it up.
Now, what color do I want the treant's eyes to be? Let's see if we can find a good reference for that.
It's like I'm trying to think, like really deep mossy green, maybe.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
We have a lot downstairs. Let's go.
Well, who has coin for a fortune?
Do you know my name?
Hmm.
I know your name now. Oh, my name is Molly, my friends. And we're friends now, aren't we? Pleasure.
Maybe sort of a brighter green, actually.
Molly for short.
Ooh, yeah.
Sort of like a
kinda
luminescent.
Yeah.
Lydia said apple green.
Ooh, yeah.
Apple bottom green, perhaps?
The leathers with the furs.
Boots with the moss. The whole club was watching her floss.
It gets more cursed with every sentence.
Nothing about this is good. It's all bad. Lydia says, "Cursed." Baby, you know it. Oh, where's my gray? There you are.
I'm going to fall back on an old favorite, iridescent silver.
Who doesn't love a bit of iridescent silver in their life? I'll tell you who. Werewolves.
Maybe the peak of cruel irony is painting a little iridescent silver on a werewolf mini.
Barr?
What is this, hell?
Sarris is one of my favorite songs.
I'm sad that this character actually has no real reason to use any of the interference paints that I have.
Interference?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've got a couple of these interference blue, and I think there's my interference green. There it is.
What's your name?
So they're mostly clear. They've got a little hint of blue in there, and they work really great as like a top coat. If you look at,
Interesting.
this is why I wish I brought Give. If you look at the little spell effect in his hand,
Yeah.
I did green on one side and fitted it into blue, so it looks kind of silver, but as you tilt it, it fades colors between blue and green as it catches the light.
Cool. Get a bit of a finer brush. Well, if you do want to give him some blue accents in one place or another, that could be a possible application.
Oh yeah.
Lydia wants to see it.
All right. Let me.
Let him finish, Lydia. You can't rush art.
You can't rush art. Find a little dab on the bubble.
I find that a little dab will do you. Cease. Ooh, that beard though. Oh yeah. Ha ha! He's looking so fucking good.
Oh yeah. Woo. There we go.
All right, here we go.
It's mostly some basic colors right now, but I really have to redo the tail because I was just doing the tuft and then it kind of spread up and I kind of redid it.
This is an in progress at any second now. Come on, camera.
Thinking.
You see it. Right there. See this thing? See it now?
It's just like, no, tree.
It should be, but maybe I turned it off. Ah, there we go. Got it.
Oh. Sort of.
I might be just too close. It does have a minimum range. There we go. So as you can see, you've still got the speckling on areas that will be painted over, but of course, where it already happened on like his jerkin and everything like that, that's been painted over now, and so you don't really care about that so much.
Exactly.
Oh, he's looking good. I like his hair. I like his hammer too.
I'm excited to get that one all painted up.
Oof. The boy.
The boy.
Rad indeed. We are children of the 80s, aren't we?
The amount of retro wave and outrun I listen to, probably.
You're an infant? I hope not. I'm gonna have stern words with a mutual friend of ours. No, wait. How old are you? How old are you, Lydia?
Light potential.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go very dark for the stone. Oh God, you are an infant.
Would you have me learn?
Painted the rock.
I don't understand.
Wow. Okay, so not as of next week, but as of the week after, this show is going to double as a. So let's talk about this week's game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right.
Oh man, I'm so looking forward to that.
Why wouldn't it be next week?
Because it's going to be Harry, and he will not have played, and he is not allowed to watch my game 0.
Right.
So,
Now, if I remember, are we allowed to watch after we all get together, or?
I think that that's going to depend on a lot of things. Like, you know, I'll say this. In the Thursday game that I run, the first game 0 was with Jesse and Crystal, another person in the party who I actually don't know if you've met, Alex.
I have, actually.
Okay. But I would still not be okay with the rest of the party watching their game 0
Oh, okay.
if it was filmed and available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you know what I started doing on the Thursday games? I actually started, I would open up just like a, you know, the voice memos app on my iPhone, put it right there in the middle of the table, and I record the whole thing.
Oh.
And then I upload it to, you know, private video. Nobody else can see it, but I upload it to YouTube later. And then I spend the next couple of weeks just listening to it back over and over again. Oh, man. If you're a dungeon master out there, cannot recommend it enough. Because all those things where you're like, what the fuck did I say? What the fuck did I say? Was going to happen here? It's all right there. And I've got all of it.
It is awfully handy.
It's really nice. I think I'm going to do a little Nolan oil on that beard. We are so ready for you to watch it, Lydia. Telling you.
What happened to you on that boat? Something might have followed you.
Another cursed angle. How are there so many?
Cursed angle?
Yeah. Like, right there between the arms.
Oh, yeah.
Pushed in his chest.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
This is smaller. This sword just seems to take in.
Just go in blind and hope.
Here we go!
Ooh, paint with force.
Trust your feelings, Luke.
Lydia's taken off.
All right, Lydia.
Adios.
Goodbye. See you on the flip-flop, as I believe the kids are saying these days.
I've never heard anyone ever say that.
The kids.
The kids, but the kids though.
How do you do, fellow kids? Oh my God! Somebody help me! I almost just called him Gary Busey.
Oh god, now that's all I'm picturing in my head.
Right?
Steve Buscemi.
Thank you, Jesus Christ! What's wrong with me? Fuck! That was embarrassing. As a long lover of Steve Buscemi, and when I say lover, I mean whatever you want me to mean.
There are a lot of interpretations of that, and he's very well aware.
Okay, so we go in first with a very dark green on the eyes. Oh god, this brush is way too thick. Let's go for a little brush. Hey, little brush.
Same here.
Oh, are you going to go for the eyes, by the way? I have offered my services in the past. If you want me, I will take a crack at the eyes.
Would very much appreciate that. Because Give was hard enough, and I didn't have to deal with giant bushy eyebrows.
Right. Ooh. Yeah, green was the right call.
Excited to get a look.
Oh, man. See, now if the Thursday campaign doesn't fight treants, I'm going to be so fucking disappointed. No, we successfully avoided them.
But
That's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. All my rules for ship combat, I'll just... Poor Matt.
that's where you just like, roll a perception check. 1, good enough. You see this in the background.
Appreciate my cool model. God damn it. Eldritch Blast!
Blast? No! What's wrong?
Oh, shit. Where is my white? This is a white.
Ooh.
I do love that Twitter meme.
Which one?
Oh, sometimes when somebody is just exceptionally white on Twitter, people. I think it's somebody talking about wine. Oh no, it's Michael Scott from The Office.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a scene where he's like, "No, I'm a big connoisseur of wine." And he takes a sip. He's like, "This, for example, is a white." And so somebody will post, it's like somebody just being exceptionally white.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is a white.
That's beautiful.
That's great. No, come on. I just need enough flow to give me the highlight I'm looking for. Okay. Check out those eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, that is good. Yeah. Green.
Oh. Oh, he gonna hit him. He gonna hit him. Yeah, treants can mess you up.
Oh, yeah. Look at how many weapons are just made from just wood.
Yep.
I mean, a great club is one of the stronger weapons in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine that. Big.
Yep.
And alive.
And alive.
And punching.
And angry at you.
Well, this treant took levels in Monk.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, that would be a great one-shot.
Oh.
Not a great campaign, but a monstrous one-shot.
Ooh.
You got your Stone Giant PC, your Treant PC.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
What would a treant monastery be like? Like, how zen would you have to be a monk tree?
You have to be pretty fucking zen. To the point where it'd be kind of remarkable if you ever like stepped away from the the monastery at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean, consume.
Okay, Rock. Just cooperate with me, please. How's that going? What part are you working on now?
Oh, I just remembered that I was gonna lighten that Titan buff, and I totally forgot about actually doing that.
That thing I was gonna do? Yeah, I forgot to do it.
When I was younger, they used to make fun of
I was gonna do that.
my teeth.
Little brown? Or it was this. That's right.
Can be cruel, so
A
I
little bit
decided to take
steal
away
this for a sec.
most easily available.
Granite Gray.
People who do not have tusks like you, so you are different.
Yeah, at the time, there weren't any others like me. So, I feel like I was especially picked on. My teeth.
Do you still feel the same way about your teeth?
Not necessarily.
I really want to try that primering method you were talking about before. What was that called again? Can you describe that again?
So it was something I was watching on YouTube. I'll link the video so we can actually post it up later.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But it's a method, I believe, it's called zenithal priming, and the idea being that that minis are seen, with an assumed light source direction, being at a sort of zenith. And you find that zenith, and when you prime your initial coat, you go over it with a second primer of like a light gray or a white even, but you do it from the zenith where the light would be coming from, and wherever that second coat of primer lands is where your light sources are going to end up being. So it's a method used for not only inherently lightening the paints that go over it, but also indicating to you where you should be painting with lighter shades to indicate sunlight or whatever.
Right, helping you identify where you want to be applying your highlights when you get into the actual painting process. That is so damn smart. I can't wait to do that on a model.
You're the light. Can't imagine that any of
Apparently it's really, really good for like batch models too. Like do 3-4 kobolds or whatever in a row, but you can prime them all at once, and then you can do a zenithal priming on all of them.
Yeah.
It gives them, I believe it was actually one of the, I think the guy's mostly a Warhammer painter, which makes a lot of sense.
Right. Paint a lot more minis than Warhammer, generally.
Sort of exemplified the rougher side of my race. So, sometimes I wish I had a
Looking to get a little more buff.
A little more buff.
many of us.
early
I can live Gwen too. Watch. I'll cast fly and.
I actually made an aside to Kane during the last session because Gwen was going with the mages. I was like, oh, and you cast like Death Ward. I was like, thank you for doing that. I don't trust the mages not to drop her.
I missed that.
It was a very quick aside, and I thought more people heard it, but it was
Alright, fair. How
mostly
about
just the Kane.
me
That is fucking fantastic.
I knew that shit, and you just say the word and I'll stop.
So I'm going for painted highlights on the beard here, as opposed to dry brushing. And that gives it less of a hard, grainy texture and more of a soft texture, which is appropriate to moss.
I don't know what any of this means, but I was back on shore and I didn't see anything of the ship or him or any of the other crewmates.
Maybe he's alive and we were seeing through his eyes right now.
I would like that.
Yeah, I probably should have done this before the Nuln, so I might do another coat of Nuln after. I had one of those super gratifying experiences in the last Thursday game, where they were walking through the streets of a city in the Feywild, and the city had been transported there, and all the residents were charmed into sleep, you know, like the Feywild can sometimes do.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you people with high passive perceptions, you suddenly hear this. And Bridget immediately was like, and I was like, you look to the south and you see these giant figures, and she was like, is it? And I was like walking trees, and she was like, oh my god!
I knew it.
I want to go talk to him, but I don't want to go talk to him. Also had a fantastic round of experiences where, you know, before they came to the Feywild, they investigated a lot, and people were like, well, what you don't want to do in the Feywild is you don't want to make deals in the Feywild.
Yeah.
And then they get to the Feywild and they meet actually another sort of expat or immigrant, whatever you want to call him, an orc who's from the Prime Material Plane, but, you know, lives in the Feywild currently. And he's like, well, you know, number one thing you don't want to do here, you don't want to make deals in the Feywild. You know, you avoid that and you probably ain't going to get in too much trouble. And then they met a being who appeared to be an archfey and was like, well, we could make a deal. And like 5 players like jumped on it immediately.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you know, and meanwhile, and of course, you know, they all knew. It was just like, no, I know, but also, what am I gonna do? Not make a deal with this guy? Come on. And then poor Jesse, he was the only character who was like, we should not be doing this.
No.
This is the worst idea, and we have some really bad ideas. It was a really good time. I was just like, of course, you know, DM just being like, no, you guys can take this as far as you want to go, man.
Entirely up to you.
I will make deals until the cows come home. Speaking of accordion timelines, and the malleable nature of time in D&D, I was very amazed that at the end of one session they get to the Feywild, okay?
Yeah.
And they meet this orc I mentioned before.
Yeah.
He was the entire next session. They talked to him for like 4 hours, and I was like, this is gonna be like half hour, 45 minutes, and that's it. So I had like all this stuff ready in the place that I figured they were gonna go to next and everything. Nope. They just wanted to talk to him. Forever.
When you make that one really likable Boblin the Goblin OC, and then that's the whole session.
That's it. They've adopted a couple of NPCs by this point. One of them has been intentional. I wanted the NPC to be very important to them and ingratiate with them. A couple have been entirely unintentional, and from a little nothing scribble on a note one time has just become somebody that the party has been like, this is our baby now.
He is ours.
I've only had Brex for an hour and a half, but
Getting happy to it.
that's
Once
the
in-
name of one of the NPCs.
It happened once in a campaign a friend of mine was running for a little while. It was, I don't remember what it was. I think it was out of... I'm trying to remember what module it was out of. But he was running out of a module, and we were going under some catacombs, and we run into a kobold named Meepo, and we're like, alright, we're taking him with us.
This is our baby now.
This is our baby now. It was like the village outcast, like he was the chief's son, but was not respected, and we're like, okay, we have a son now.
Congratulations, you have a new family.
You have been promoted to son.
That's fantastic. And that it do be like that sometimes. Okay, so we're going with purple toadstools climbing up this guy's legs.
Nice.
Ooh, I could even put yellow spots on him.
Oh boy, that teal really clings.
Is it?
Yee. There we go.
There really is just so much miniature here,
Stops being a miniature at a certain point.
right?
Like, at what point do they just stop being minis and become scale models?
Being chained up and tortured. That's kind of fun with a person, right?
More like maximature.
Yeah.
Is that just called industrial light and magic?
I mean, at that point.
There is definitely a line where that becomes the case. What that line is exactly, I couldn't tell you.
We have not defined those boundaries.
Okay, not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite minis I've ever painted. The eyes, the beard, the texturing on the wood. This is...
It's got a lot of pop to it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that looks freaking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I love.
Kind
forget who this came up with recently, but the other we were talking about She-Ra earlier, but you know the other show that Megan and I got obsessed with recently. Have you watched Umbrella Academy?
Oh no, but I think Roberto and Lydia both have been watching that a lot, and I keep catching little snippets of it, and it looks great.
Well, you know, I'll tell you one thing. Season 1 barely had me hanging on. Because Season 1 has a lot of a story element that I don't like, where it's just like forced misunderstandings.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. Just like, use your words once. One time, you know? Or like misunderstandings based on experiences that like both people have had. Like two people have both had the same, a brother and sister have both had the same shitty father. And so when like, you know, when they find out a new shitty thing their father has done, you know, there's like this disagreement where it's like, oh no, you know, I'm sure he did it for a reason or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you already had the conversation where you both realized that your dad was kind of a shithead, you know, like
we're past this now, I thought.
Exactly. Like, let's move on with our lives. Season 2 is amazing.
Okay.
The characterization suddenly jumps up to like an 8 or 9, and the like people talk to each other, and there's, you know, that's the miraculous thing about good storytelling is everybody can talk to each other and be in total open, honest communication, and you can still have conflict because people are different and they want different things, you know, and they have different like codes and values and everything like that, and it just pulled it all off so good.
Okay.
So that is one that I'm heavily recommending to people these days.
So I will have to check that out. Just grin and bear it through season 1.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not. It's honestly probably not as bad as I'm making it sound, but I was a little bit like, oh come on, can we stop with the silliness?
Yeah, season 1 was fun, but a little bit weak in a lot of areas.
Right. And season 2 is just, it's pretty great. Edges here. Oh, too much. Too much white, not enough purple. Boy, you hear that engine outside.
Yeah.
That's somebody who's not compensating for anything.
Not even a little.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now I need my tiny brush. God, I haven't even checked in. How's the boy doing?
Not too bad, actually. I'm just putting a little wash over the furs right now.
Nice. What kind of wash are you putting on?
Black wash, but I'm doing it super, super light as I can.
I do have a brown wash.
Ooh, that might actually be perfect for it.
Somewhere. Oh, there you are.
Although, I don't know, I kind of liking the, almost has a comic booky pop to it.
Oh, if it's doing what you want, keep it going. I don't know if you overheard the conversation we were having on Sunday, but you know what's so funny is after all the effort that I went through to get it repaired, I got to give somebody else that fucking staff.
Oh no. Wait. No, what? Who?
Literally anybody else who doesn't have extremely valuable concentration slots.
Oh no. You're right.
I was just like,
oh no.
Fucking,
yeah, you
I'm
were kind of
concentrating.
incapacitated by the concentration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it could go to Valeri. It could go to anybody.
Yeah.
Valeri ain't concentrating on shit, you know?
I think I got a few concentration spells, so I don't think that could go super well with give.
Right.
I feel like maybe Zedon. He seems good at not taking hits.
He's good at not taking hits. He's not a tank.
That is true.
I want it to be somebody who's slightly role appropriate so that they're like always conscious of that sort of thing. You know, especially since it takes an action to plant it. It's like that's not something I can ever see Zedon wasting his action in combat to do.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something we could do with our like bonus, like fast hands and thing.
Oh.
Use a magic item,
Yeah.
theoretically.
So like I would actually totally consider trying that as well, but I tend to get in the fray and actually take hits more.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm okay at Constitution, but it's not like it's, I think I've only got a +2 and +3 to save, so.
Yeah, I have Warcaster, but I took it out of necessity.
Right.
But at least while it's just the 4 of us, I could totally try and be that person. But Valeri might make more sense.
And I'll talk to him about it next time we do Iron Belly. Hey buddy, you want a staff? You staff that you dragged all over the mountain and like paid a lot of money to have fixed in the shop?
That one? Yeah, yes, that one.
Yeah, I just got tired of it.
Boy, so I'm not entirely sure how I'm feeling about this right now.
Okay.
So, any feedback?
Let me see here.
Really appreciated. Worst case scenario, I've got another one primed. So.
Alright, so what aren't we liking?
I'm not entirely sure. I think honestly that the problem for me right now is the browns. Because now I'm getting into like doing the leather straps and I'm sort of having a hard time deciding like, okay, there's a lot more fabric that needs to be covered. And it can't all be shades of brown.
Right. So that might be a good opportunity to pick sort of that accent color. Like maybe he wears blue clothes, maybe he wears green clothes or something underneath there. And so now, before you go too much further, paint in that strip right there, you know, in sort of this, in this space, green, and here and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But now would be the time to make that decision.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then paint the, and then you're almost inevitably going to have to go back and paint the leather again over that.
Right.
But that's fine as long as you're deciding it now and don't go too much further on putting the details into the leathers. We try to go between pretty soon here. I don't know when you feel like you're at a good stopping point, Alex. Let's call it.
I honestly don't think I'm gonna get this guy done today.
Right. Yeah, a player character can be a more extensive time commitment, even than something big like a treant. dots on the purple.
difficult for his second nature.
Could be a little brighter, but I'm not unhappy with it. And now that means that pretty much all that's left to do is just the base of this guy. Which then, of course, leaves the question, what the fuck do I want to do with this?
Distant light you see suddenly dives.
You know what I might do?
Nearly out of sight. The Volta dives down after.
I think I'm going to go for the same kind of stone look on the stone he's standing on.
You dart after her to give chase, moving far quicker than anticipated.
And then the grass, I'm actually going to try painting my darkest green and then oiling,
Ooh.
and then dry brush it up from there.
3 shooting stars.
Of course, I have to be a little careful in the base because I don't want to paint over the treant's foot.
Sweet. Let's make it a nice slate blue. I'm into that.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I can work with that.
I feel like I'm painting the treant all over again. There's so much base.
I think that woman is going to try to kill you.
Schrodinger's door.
We just both open and close. Okay, yeah, I'm digging that slate.
Yeah?
Yep.
Nice.
It's got that little pop of color, almost teal, but it's still kind of gray enough to work with the skin tone too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ever want to go in for an accent color like that on a character and you're worried that it's just too much or too distracting, you just neutralize it. A little gray, a little brown, something like that. And it'll definitely give it the color that you want, but it'll just keep it from being like a neon light.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't entirely know what her intentions are, but I feel like there are only a few that I could ask to exercise quick judgment in a moment of need. I think you know what I mean, but in case this thing gets out of hand, I count on you to right the ship if need be.
forward to the end of this heat wave in general, and summer in particular.
Yeah. Big same here.
Yeah.
It has been really unusually, like, just sloggy month.
And of course, everything is worsened by 2020.
Yep. Just inherently by existing.
Mm-hmm.
There is an almost amusing sort of sense of like detachment that happens though. You see some like news article, something terrible, you're like, sure, why not?
Yeah. 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 Yep. That tracks.
You're like, all right. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Right. Any other year, I'd be like, what the hell? This is life changing. Now it's just like, oh,
Sure, why not?
yeah, that makes sense.
Someone a couple months ago, there was like Mars, scientists observed some mysterious green glow around Mars, and people were reposting it. Not now, mysterious Martian glow.
Right. God, what was the one just like that I saw? Oh yeah, scientists like freaking restored brain activity in clinically dead pigs.
Yeah,
And it was like, really?
now,
You're messing around with that in 2020? You know this is the year that's going to be the worst possible time to do something like that.
Yeah, let's stop.
Let pigs be dead.
It's that simple.
Okay, and then I will get a very watered down dark green all over this base. Because I am, of course, all about that base.
Alright, I guess we're leaving.
I feel like that joke has probably been in every Crafternoon so far.
Well, when Nolan's not here, somebody has to try to keep up the tradition.
That's true.
Although it's a pale comparison.
It's effortless and scary sometimes.
It's... people aren't ready.
Yeah,
People
like,
really aren't ready for what is about to be unleashed on
like,
Twitch.
For honest, it's... Wow.
Nolan is just a lot. In the best possible way.
Yeah, he just... I don't know how he thinks that quickly on his feet.
Yeah, me neither. It's like... It's very different vibe, but it's on the same level as Sam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
just
the
that
same
like
kind of...
snap pop, boom, here's a joke, and the whole table is just like, oh my god.
Like, he is kind of like a quick thinking comedy goblin. And I'm like, how are you doing this?
Yeah. Again, very different vibe
Yeah.
of comedy, but yeah. So for this, I'm using I'm watering down my darkest green paint, very watery, so that it really sinks into the sand on the base. And just apply it very lightly, very loose. Really let it soak in there. And it may look like it's obscuring some of the detail, but when it dries up, the water kind of runs out of it, which is another reason that you water it up so much.
I think so. Yeah.
You didn't get to ask them about Mandarin though. Do you think, if we find him, you'll stop talking like him?
We'll see.
It's just, WAP. Wet ass paint.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was...
Yep. That's what the song's about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever heard the clean version, but I'm assuming, you know, knowing what the...
Oh yeah, the Kids Bop version.
Please tell me they didn't Kids Bop that song.
No, they did.
Whoa, woof. Last thing I want to be worried about when I take my kids out to some play place or whatever. Although I did see a very cute TikTok where a dad had his kids in the background and he was singing into the camera, "There's some chores in this house. There's some chores in this." And I was like, well played. Well played, Dad.
Skating on the edge. Living dangerous.
Game recognizes game.
No, and the thing I wanted the most was, in some of these, I saw a vision of Mandarin, whether it's a statue or a reflection or something. I hadn't seen anything. Nothing.
Okay. How you doing over there?
Pretty good. Definitely a little happier now.
Good.
That color is the right color, and this kind of tan beige thing that I cooked up is working pretty well as a nice accent. Helps make it look way, way less muddy. That's what I was concerned about, is like it being either too vibrant or too just muddy dark.
Totally. Yeah, that can happen. I am just about at a good stop here.
Oh, the same here. Basically, once I patch up these legs, I'll be able to basically tinker throughout the rest of the week and get them done.
Perfect. I just have a couple of highlighting areas to do here.
Wasn't normally his thing, so it was strange. And we went down there, I saw him. When I confronted him, he threw a dagger in my chest. Yeah, well, he turned on me real fast. He seemed to know that what he was doing wasn't up to snuff. When I chased him above, he was at the bow of the ship, getting ready to exit or jump off.
So I'm kind of doing a wet dry brush here, where it's not, I'm not using like a proper dry brush. I'm just using like a regular brush, and I'm not brushing it off all that much because, again, for a texture like this, similar to the wood earlier, it's stone, and it's not really supposed to look too uniform. Stone has lots of natural little veins of color and stuff throughout, and you'll notice that even on the original coat of paint there's still some wet spots, and those are sort of mixing into this new color that I'm dry brushing, and that's fine too. It makes these really interesting contours and contrasts that are sort of interesting and unique to look at. And I, ooh,
No.
Sabian was, yeah, he was someone I grew up with who was also brought by Bandit to work on the ship. Yeah, I've known him for many years. He's always been a piece of shit of one variety or another. Only in the most recent years that I think that maybe that stuff had sort of faded between us and we had found a way to work together. Apparently not.
I just want to let you know that while we're on the sea, I had a talk with my dog.
okay. And then we'll mix a little lighter gray in here, and we'll do it again. This time we'll go lighter. We'll only go for the spots that we feel should really get that highlight.
Get another cursed angle. They're all over.
I really like that term.
Every time you think, like, that's it, that's all the hard angles done. And you turn around and go, no, I missed a spot. Yeah, there it is. Another one.
Okay, and then we're going to oil this rock. And then I can't do too much more on this guy.
Finish up the teal accents, because that was a special mixed color, and everything else I can sort of up at home to a little higher degree of accuracy.
Huzzah.
Although I might take you up on the eyes.
Oh, sure. I can do that before we kill it.
I asked the Wild Mother.
So the great thing about doing a wash after you do a few layers of highlighting is that if your highlights have gone particularly harsh, if the color contrast is very stark, the wash evens it out a lot. Because even though it's mostly getting into cracks and recesses, it is putting a thin sheen on the highlight colors as well.
Okay.
So it brings your high, in this case my very bright grays, down more towards the level of my darker grays. It's like, actually what it's like, if you're familiar with photography, it's like putting an ND filter on the whole thing.
Okay.
Where if the sun is just kind of blowing out your colors and your whole light range on your camera, the sort of the general darker filter over everything brings your extremely bright colors down more into the level of your other colors so that they can be processed by the camera, or in this case, the viewer's eyes.
Just a quick tone down.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like the whole trick to painting terrain for me, you know, is just paint it like for these stone floors over here. The entire theory is you paint it a very dark gray, and then you dry brush it a much brighter gray, and then a gray that's almost white, and then you black wash the whole thing, and it all just sort of ends up looking a lot more uniform.
Interesting.
Yeah. Are we ready for those eyes?
I think so. Just give it a little bit right
You said you wanted to go for teal eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I black?
Looks like he's still getting the give treatment, but I am definitely way further along in one sitting than I was in a week.
Yep. Yeah, let's get a close up on him. He's looking good.
Focus.
Focus. Oh, there we go.
Hey.
There he is. All right. So what we'll do here is first we'll paint the whole eye area with black. Oof. And this will give us sort of an outline.
That give was kind of unique in that I didn't even really have to worry about like sclera because they were all black. So all I had to do was put the gold points on there.
Right.
I didn't have to worry about any whites of the eyes.
Okay. One eye done. This is definitely one of the more nerve-wracking parts of the whole process.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what was that teal that you wanted?
So, this was kind of the basis of it. It was this turquoise, and I think I put a little brown in there to mute it down.
Okay, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to brighten it up ever so... actually, you know what?
Yeah, if you want to brighten it up with a little of that
Maybe just
slate.
a little bit. Just right over.
I'm not sure how much that's dried up, but... Oh yeah, that's nice.
Here we go. Okay. So we do this, and I don't always do colored eyes. But when I do, I put a dot right in the middle of the black. Still trying to leave that black outline. And then we take the white and we stick just a little dab on either side of the pupil. That's okay, it's a little too much. I'm just gonna have to redo the teal there.
That's all good.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
How do you feel now that you're not dreaming anymore? Better? Well, that's good.
I should have probably done the teal after, because that's just what I'm gonna have to end up doing in both these anyway.
No, I gotcha.
But it didn't. What if it can? Why hasn't it?
I don't know. One thing I am sure of, though, it feels stronger. It feels more present, closer, closer, closer.
Being such a jerk to me, white paint.
Oh no.
It's just not. It's losing its flow very much more quickly. Definitely don't want straight hairs. All right, let's get that teal again, which you still got right here.
I'm proud of you for maintaining your sense of self through all of this. It's difficult sometimes when one is pulled by things greater than ourselves.
You said you commune with the mother. Yeah. Is it a two-way thing, or are you just putting yourself out there and seeing them come back?
Very much a two-way thing. There's no way. Nature isn't separate. We're part of it. We communicate with the world every day with every breath. Everything we do is our declaration of our love.
Okay. Oh god, it's so much worse when it's somebody else's miniature. Holy shit. I'm freaking out, man. And you do, there we go.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, that's got that pop to it.
There he is, the tall angry boy.
Tall angry boy.
Oh man, and you get to meet him on Sunday.
Hey.
Hey. Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, same bat channel. Woof. Okay. Boy, what a nerve-wracking end to the night.
Hey, but you did amazing. He looks fantastic and way, 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 way better than I could have done on my own time.
Hell
I
yeah.
probably would have mangled it and had to go to the second mini.
And then, so probably spruce them up a little bit through the week, and then
Yep,
I'm ready for
Do
Sunday.
the finishing touches, do the floor planks, touch up the little feetsies and all that.
And Gwen's, I should say, Bridget's mini is already Gwen's mini.
I do that all the time.
All the time.
I'm just like, oh yeah, I was talking to Peldon. Garrett.
Garrett is the person behind the person. But yeah, we will be live Sunday 1 p.m. Pacific time with the first Game 0 of the Honor campaign. I can't wait. It's been a long time coming. And then we'll be able to briefly discuss it next Tuesday for Crafternoon.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me over.
I have no idea who's going to be on next week. No, I do. It's Harry.
Ah, that's right.
You all get to see Harry again for a longer period of time next week. And until then, thank you so much. Have a good night, and we will see you next week. Bye.